here we go. So if you want to heckle me at any point, you can.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys. All right.
What's up, guys? Here, my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Coming to you live. Sponsored by
Ooh. I like all those sponsors, especially the ones that start like donuts. All right, so I'm going to show you how to work a little bit in Lightroom, go into Photoshop, convert an image to black and white in Photoshop, and resave it back into your Lightroom catalog. All in 10 minutes. So you know this video will be short. All right, so when you're in Lightroom, you do every one of the basic edits that you normally do, which includes setting your black points, your white points, your highlights, and your shadows, working with your white balance. If you want to add a little bit of texture, you can. Let's see. I'm not going to add a tonal curve here. I'm going to do that in Photoshop, and I'll show you how. So the only other thing I need to make sure that I've done is enabled my lens corrections. Then I need to go into Photoshop because we're going to add the black and white in there. One of the reasons is I want to give you a little taste of Photoshop, and also the black and white adjustment layer is a great way to work. So it's a nice addition to your workflow. I'm going to right click on the little thumbnail image in the film strip at the bottom, edit in Photoshop. All right, so it will open automatically with your Lightroom adjustments in Photoshop. Awesome. Now, we haven't done a lot of Photoshop. I'm just going to give you like the 10-second tour. Here are all of your tools. But one of the nice things about Photoshop is if you hover over a tool, it will tell you what the tool does and the shortcut. If you hold it down, you'll see what its roommates are. And if you just let your mouse like hold over it, it'll show you like a little instructional video of what everything does, which is kind of great. You have your option bar up the top, which changed for every tool. You have your history, your properties and adjustments, layers, and I'm going to talk you guys more, and I have some more handouts about how to set up your Photoshop. We will be doing that together next class. But if you're the kind of person who's like, hey, I got a Wednesday night, the clippers aren't on, you can go to Window, Learn, and it pulls up this little Photoshop class. And you can say, all right, fundamental skills. I want a tour. And it will take you through a tour and tell you exactly what is what. And this is actually pretty good, right? So when I started Photoshop, they gave you like a bunch of big books, and they're like, hope, good luck finding it. And now Photoshop is doing these interactive videos that you can use to kind of get a feel for this space. Okay? So that is all under the Learn. Let's go back over here, and we're going to shut Learn. All right. The couple things we're going to do. We're going to grab the Move tool. That's our default tool. The shortcut is V. And I'm going to look at the adjustments. I'm going to zoom in real quick here. The adjustments, the first row, brightness, contrast, levels, curves, exposure, and vibrance. We will be using curves, and we will also be using hue, saturation, color, black and white. Right? There's just a bunch of them. We'll also be using black and white. So if you chose a photographer that works in black and white, this is how you're going to convert it to black and white. You can't shoot in black and white and save it as a raw file because the black and white won't stick to the raw file. You can, however, while you're shooting, if you're curious about how those colors will look as luminosity values in a range of tonality, take a snap on your phone and it will look, you can see how it looks in black and white. So by clicking that, you add a layer with that black and white adjustment. Right? The eyeball turns it on and off. And what's really nice is in the properties, it lets you adjust all of these different sliders, which will change the way that certain tonalities look. Right? So you can grab one, just kind of drag them around. Right? If you're not sure what they do, you could play with one of the presets and see if you like the way any of that looks. Or, my favorite, it's a scrubby hand, the targeted adjustment tool, right? So when you have that selected, you can hover over the image, click, hold it down, and it will move the slider associated, right? So see how it changes? I wouldn't have necessarily known to go to the blue slider for that. If I want to work with this, right, that's the magentas. So you've got a couple of things that you can play with. Right. So now, in the next demo, we will talk about how we're going to add curves and how we're going to do dodging and burning. But for now, you're going to go in, you're going to add a black and white adjustment layer, you're going to play with it, and then you're going to shut it back down, go back into Lightroom. And that is incredibly easy. Go over to the I'm going to shut Photoshop red button. And when it says save changes, yeah, hit save. Give it a minute. Very exciting. And then black and white. When you go back into Lightroom, it'll be right there. So take a look. This is your original, your DNG. The image that we just made is this .psd, edit.psd. And if you want to open it again, here's how you do it. Right click, don't go up to edit in Photoshop, right? And I'll tell you why in the next video. Go show in Finder, and you'll see the edit.psd. Right click there and hit open with Photoshop, and it will open it back up. And most importantly, when you do it in this way, it will show you your layers, because I need to see your layers so that I can see your new workflow. Okay? And when you're done making another change or two, just shut it down and it will update in Lightroom.